Chasenus, and today I'll be doing my honors project for 150C, and I'll be going over the rulers of the Aztec nation in northern Mexico. The Aztec society was a group of nomadic people that originated about the 13th century. Their home city was Tenochtitlan, and their main language was Nahuatl. On this slide, I went ahead and listed the 11 emperors of the Aztec Empire over time. The ones in bold are the ones that I felt really left a precedent for the rulers to come based on their ruling strategies. Itzcoatl expanded the Aztec Empire almost trifold using his militant abilities, similar to Ahuitzotl, who was an aggressive conqueror and a strong militant force who moved down through Mexico conquering nearby tribes. Moctezuma II was an emperor who also led various expeditions. However, at the time of his reign was when the Spanish conquest with Hernan Cortés arrived in Mexico and took him hostage in order to take power. Lastly, we have Cuauhtemoc, the final emperor of the Aztec Empire, who defended the city in its final triumphs against the Spanish until it fell in 1525. Within the Aztec Empire, I found that the most prominent ruling strategy that allowed them to be successful was their unification based on their hierarchical structure. At the top of the structure was obviously the emperor, and I know this diagram's in Spanish, but it lists their titles based on their native language. After the emperor came his counselors and priests. Because of this culture's large affinity with religion, it was often that these positions of power were tied and such. And below each level was the governing leaders of whichever city or local town. These towns and cities would each have to provide tribute to the higher power, which would be the higher governing official or up to the emperor. And based on their tributes, they would either have to do something in terms of providing more goods, or they'd simply be left alone. Second to the hierarchical structure was definitely the militant force of the Aztec Empire. They were known as a strong force to be reckoned with due to their factions within the military. These warriors were given a higher rank based on their capturing of enemy soldiers, and then within such rank they were provided with better weapons. So you could see the lowest level rank with something like a club and a shield, while the higher level ranks were provided with craftier weapons or better weapons to allow them to live longer and be able to capture more and kill more and sacrifice more enemy soldiers over time. This in turn gave them honor within the society, and they were revered within the culture itself alongside its religion. This allowed them to be a fierce force to be reckoned with and conquer various of the nearby nations at the time. The last ruling strategy that I found to be very prominent within the Aztec culture was definitely the religious influence of their pagan gods. Similar to the religions of Egypt or Greece and Rome, the Aztecs had various deities that they worshipped at large temples, similar to those of the infrastructure of temples in Greece or Rome or Egypt. These deities would provide them with information as to how their crops would grow and such. In order to please them, they would perform sacrifices, whether it be the enemies captured at war or people within the culture that had not paid their tribute to those above them. These predictions would aid them in making influential decisions, such as their military conquests or their positions in moving forward within society. This can be seen through their grand infrastructure of buildings devoted to these deities. Thank you for watching my project, and I hope you enjoyed.